This summer, get ready for the horror show of a lifetime. Hide your kids, hide your AR-14s, and your grandkids. Get ready for Joe Biden's petting zoo. This film is not yet rated. It may include excessive sniffing and fondling. What's up, boys, girls, flying squirrels, friends, cousins, and neighbors? We are back again with another episode of Simple Man Talks. I am your host, as always, with the most, Blaine, and as another episode, you don't get to see the beautiful face behind the microphone, but hey, it's all about content, okay? Just a quick reminder, this podcast is fueled by ProbablyPolitical.com. You can go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now we're actually on Spotify, so go check us out on Spotify as well at Probably Political. We have all kinds of good content, and of course, we're always on YouTube as well. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get started, boys, girls, flying squirrels, and as always, it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Right, so what we're going to be covering on today's episode is pretty much going to be kind of more coronavirus and what's kind of unfolding with the state opening up and who's actually being appointed to an expert on the expert boards. Yes, you heard me correct. There's apparently a new expert, according to CNN, on their coronavirus board, and it is none other than the one and only Greta Thunberg.
How dare you?
But we're going to hop into that a little bit later into the show. But what we're going to cover first is kind of how everybody is slowly going back to work and how people have kind of been struggling. For instance, people that live in apartments haven't been really able to work out with their apartment complex on how to pay their bills on time because they haven't been working.
And because the lights didn't work, I won't pay the rent, so we get better lighting and we don't pay the rent, right?
And you know, a lot of people that have actually been out there working through the virus would attest to say that, you know, not much has really changed for them. You know, they've kept their daily routines. Not much has changed besides, you know, going to the grocery store or something like that. And most people will be like, well, how are you dealing with, you know, everything out in public? You know, you're putting yourself at a higher risk of getting the coronavirus. And that's why, too, if a vaccine is made, I think everybody would be a little bit of sketch about it just due to the fact that there hasn't been any testing on it. It's just a vaccine based off of what can kill the coronavirus, not what it can do to a person. So what can you do to stay safe while the state reopens, you may be asking? Well, first off, don't hang around sick people. It's an obvious. Second off, keep your daily healthy routines going. So yes, wash your hands after you wipe your ass or touch anything dirty. Don't handle food with dirty hands. Just common sense kind of things. If you do these things, you'll be okay. I promise you. Coming up next, the second segment of the day, we're going to be talking a little bit about CNN's appointment of Greta Thunberg to their coronavirus expert panel. Don't know what they're thinking there, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. All that and much more coming up next.
Hi, I'm Greta Thunberg, and if you don't wear a mask while out in public, how dare you? By you not wearing a mask takes away my childhood, and even worse, destroying the only plant I love, using masks out of your poop-stained underwears. I'm an expert through CNN now, so you should listen to what I have to say. Go to CNN.com to find out more and how you shouldn't wear your poop-stained underwear as a mask. Now, back to more of Simple Man Talks.
Now, if you ask me personally, I don't see any benefit of this for any benefit that this shows for either her nor CNN. It just proves that CNN is doing anything and everything to kind of show that, hey, we're the people that you should be listening to because so-and-so said so. And in this case, that so-and-so is Greta Thunberg. Not like Brian Stelter or anybody else would be any better, but just saying, Greta Thunberg is the hand that we have been dealt through CNN. Sadly, according to the article that came out by CNN, Greta Thunberg allegedly thought that she had coronavirus at one point in time and chose to self-quarantine herself from her family to prevent them from getting the coronavirus. So now she has come out and said that we should be listening to the experts and what they are saying and to pretty much just do everything that they're saying to do. I personally just don't think that taking a climate activist and then putting them in this position as a quote-unquote expert of a global pandemic / global virus that's going on, I just don't see how that can benefit anybody that's actually going through this or attempting not to get the coronavirus. I mean, when you see Greta Thunberg, everybody now, especially now, you think of the "how dare you" and the whole climate speech that she gave. Okay, so when you see that, for me personally, when I saw it pop up that CNN had appointed her to be on the expert board or whatever, however they called it, I was just kind of like, okay, like, I get why they did it, but at the same time, there's no reason why they should have done that, nor is it a good idea just for the fact that, I mean, she's a kid, and if anybody values whatever future she has, I would especially advise her not to go on CNN or be a part of this animal circus of a world that's currently going on. I mean, then again, it may be her choice. Who knows? I don't get paid enough, nor do I actually get paid to look into it. I just do it because I love all my listeners, and I think it's fun to report. But nevertheless, Greta Thunberg has now become an expert on coronavirus, and yeah, though that's the world that we live in. While we're on the topic of CNN and all these, esteemed reporters, I did big air quotes. Y'all really couldn't see it because this is an audio show, but I really did big air quotes, and you should have known that by the tone of my voice. But anyways, Brian Stelter this Sunday, I got the chance to watch him that morning, and I was just... I shouldn't have expected anything less. But first thing out of the gate, he was still covering Trump's walkout on the media that had happened earlier in the week. For those of you that don't know, a reporter had asked Trump a question regarding the coronavirus and the deaths, and as Trump responded, being Trump, the awesome man he is, that you should ask China about all the deaths. And the reporter appeared to be an Asian woman, and without hesitation, well, actually with a little bit of hesitation, he asked for the next reporter, and the woman that had asked the previous question, out of nowhere, just like, why did you direct that response at me? She was trying to put a racial twist on it. Now, Brian Stelter, with the headline, had said, or had labeled it as Trump's hate movement against the media. I really don't think that it's a hate movement against the media. What it boils down to at the end of the day is he's got a job to do, and that's to take care of a country that's currently being overrun by a deadly virus that nobody seems to have an answer to, but he's trying to find an answer. And the last thing that he really needs is somebody to make a huge deal out of something that never happened. If you asked me, I don't even think that it was a racist or a racial punch with anything. I mean, I know for a fact that he called it the China virus. People have been calling it the China virus before Trump even called it the China virus. So for someone to just up and out of nowhere get offended like that, it's obviously a ploy to try and pull a headline and make Trump look bad, as always. And he brought up a point about one of their reporters had gone to cover a right-wing / conservative rally for jobs to open back up so they can get back to work, and how his reporter or the correspondent out there had been yelled at, had been called names, etc., etc. And he made it seem like nothing in the left-wing media, like nobody in the left-wing media does this. Like it's all the right wing. And I found this to be very interesting because you see a lot of coverage of the left-wing people at rallies being very, very violent. And most right-wing people that you see, I'm not saying all of them are perfect. There are those ones that can get a little out of hand. But most right-wing people at rallies you see are pretty civilized. Now, I bring this up due to, for those of you that don't know who she is, the gun girl, Caitlin Bennett. She has her own show / website called Liberty Hangout. And her shtick is she goes around to college campuses and asks either political questions, or if there's a special holiday going, she'll ask questions regarding to the holiday, such and such. Now, she went to Ohio University and started making some conversation with a couple students. And obviously people know who she is. Apparently there was a video that went out where she pooped herself at a party. Don't know if that's true or not. But nevertheless, people don't like her just for the fact that she's very right-wing and is known as the gun girl, and she's been slammed as being racist, all sorts of stuff. You get the picture. Now, with that being said, you can go and watch the video, and you can see how these college students react to someone who is not the same political affiliation as them, and it's either their way or the highway. And they ended up throwing drinks at her, food and stuff like that. And it was this whole giant charade. Did it need to get to that? No. But most college campuses that she really goes to, you see a lot of that on her videos. And that's just one person with that. But there's plenty of that around. I mean, Crowder's another guy that you can see that on his channel as well. So with that being said, do I think Brian Stelter is right? Well, obviously not. The stuff that he reports is just pure gold and fun to report yourself, just to see how outrageous it is. But I'd like to hear from y'all this week on this episode. Do you think that the media is using scare tactics to keep you inside or to make you think that Trump isn't doing a good job? I want to hear what y'all think this week. And it actually might be featured on the next episode. You never know. So, yeah, I want to hear what y'all think about how the media is covering this. Do you think they're doing a good, bad job? What do you want to see that's reported? And stuff like that. So, yeah, feel free to leave comments. My videos, or the show at least, will be up on YouTube, Spotify, any other platform that we are on. We're adding a platform by the day pretty much. So you can keep up with us on Facebook at Probably Political. We also have our own website, ProbablyPolitical.com. We're on Twitter at ProbPolitical and on Instagram at ProbablyPolitical. I want to thank all of y'all once again for joining me for this awesome podcast. It was fun, always and dearly. Also, we have, if you haven't checked it out already, a blooper video for our 10th episode. So that is actually pretty good. I would definitely recommend that you go check that out on Probably Political on our YouTube page, website.